I keep my goals to myself, cause whenever I share it with folks, they get a look upon their face and their memory floats to a time where their goals and the stars ain't...
What's good? Let's get into AEW Dynamite from January the 21st, 2026. This was not a good episode of AEW Dynamite. I was not interested in this show. I was thinking that Kenny Omega and Josh Alexander was going to be the main event, but it wasn't. It ended up being Swerve Strickland versus Kevin Knight. So, whatever. It doesn't really matter. AEW just is an extremely cold product. Dynamite is cold. No one watches Collision. No one watches Ring of Honor. AEW just exists at this point. They just exist to exist. There's no storylines to sink our teeth into and really care about. It's awful. It's awful. Before we get into the review, let's talk about the whole Trey Miguel stuff. So, Trey Miguel was supposed to sign with AEW along with all of his rascal brethren, but it didn't happen. Now, apparently, Dave Meltzer and Sean Ross Sapp, they both put out reports saying that, this came from higher ups. The higher up in AEW, and we should all know that there is no higher up in AEW except for Tony Khan. Warner Bros. Discovery has no idea who the hell Trey Miguel is. All right, so it's nobody from Warner Brothers. Period. So Tony Khan probably had some maybe burner accounts on Twitter or whatever, and found out, the stuff that Trey Miguel said about 7 years ago, talking about just a bunch of disparaging stuff he didn't mean, really. Probably he was, going through some mental health issues and stuff like that, ended up lashing out online, which happens, and it all blew up in his face. It all came back to haunt him. He apologized, and now he's no longer in AEW. So that's basically the story of it. It sucks. Do I think his career is ruined? No, I don't. He probably will either go back to TNA or try his hand in NXT. And, it sucks. It really does. But Trey Miguel, he received the Jay Briscoe treatment. God rest Jay Briscoe's soul. But, that's what happened, and it sucks. It sucks. So we'll probably see Trey Miguel either in NXT or TNA or working for both entities at some point. So, there's that. Let's just go ahead and get into Dynamite. It's not really much to really talk about. So MJF starts the show. He says that he gloats about having the hottest girl, and he shows off his expensive Triple B title belt. So MJF brags about beating Bandito last week and claims that he's the first of many losers this year, because he's going to prove 2026 is his year and there ain't no one on his level. So Brody King shows up. He talks about not stooping to what MJF is, and that MJF's a little bitch. So Brody talks about not putting his hands on MJF because it would cost him what he really wants, which is a shot at MJF's title. He wants it right here, right now, tonight. So MJF offers to think it's over in complete silence. So he gets booed for that, and then he says no. Not because he's afraid of Brody King. That's ridiculous. He says these fans bark along with Brody King, and that makes sense because it reminds him of the phrase, all bark, no bite. And Jeff says that Brody King doesn't have grounds to challenge only after facing tomato cans, jabronis, and jobbers. And tells Brody King he needs to beat elite talent before he can step up to the champ, or else they're going to have problems. So, there's that. Who really cares? Who higher up on the card are they willing to sacrifice to Brody King? Nobody. He's not going to beat Hangman Page. He's not going to beat Swerve. He's not going to beat Samoa Joe. So, where's this going? I'm guessing we're probably going to get some type of either six-pack challenge or something like that, or where you're going to do like some type of multi-person match involving MJF at Revolution. Revolution is in about a month and a half's time. It's in early March. I believe it's March 5th. And we all know that Tony Khan doesn't give a damn about his pay-per-views. He's just going to continually book mindless television until about the second week of February. And that's when he'll start booking matches and stuff for the pay-per-view. So, there's that. Who gives a shit? I mean, AEW is just in a sad state of affairs. It just is. Moving on. So, we get some backstage stuff involving Renee Paquette. So, we got new Trios champions in Hangman Adam Page and Jet Speed. They joke about potential names for their team. Hangman announces a match against Shibata on Collision. Who gives a damn? So, he gives Speedball Mike Bailey a pep talk before his upcoming match with Samoa Joe. Then both of them dip out. So then Kevin Knight wanted some advice from Hangman about Swerve. I think Hangman just said, just try your best or whatever. Whatever. All right, moving on from that. This leads us into the first match of the night. Samoa Joe defeats Speedball Mike Bailey. He wins via, I think it was the Muscle Buster, maybe. I don't know. I don't care about this at all. I just don't give a shit about this. Moving on, and this leads us into a match I wanted to bang my head up against the wall. I didn't care about, but we knew it was going to happen. The Don Callis Family versus the Death Riders. Two of the most useless factions in all of AEW. Mind you, for the vast majority of 2025 and all of 2024, the Death Riders were a heel faction. And all of a sudden, ever since Moxley won the Continental Championship at World's End, they're all of a sudden baby faces. But the rest of the faction, they work heel. So, Marina Shafir, she's with Megan Bain and company. And it's just weird. It's really weird. I don't fucking know. I really don't. Anyway, the Death Riders, they beat the Don Callis Family in a useless street fight. It was blood and stuff like that. Thumbtack and everything. I don't care about this garbage. Daniel Garcia gets the win. He ends up tapping out. Who took the... who tapped out here? Oh, Rocky Romero. I don't know, man. I don't know. So, whatever. So, Moxley, he gets in Don Callis' face and he says, "Tell your boy to come find me." Talking about Okada. I don't care about this at all. I don't. So, this leads us into FTR. They defeated Alex Price and Jordan Oliver. I have no idea who those guys are either. Probably just an act on Collision or whatever. I don't care. FTR gets the win via the Shatter Machine. Moving on from that. So, we're going to be getting Julia Hart versus Willow Nightingale. That's going to be on Collision this weekend. And then it's going to be Tekla versus Chris Statlander on Dynamite next week for the AEW Women's championship. Who cares? And then we have a little nonsensical backstage interview involving the Babes of Wrath, Harley Cameron, and Willow Nightingale, along with Chris Statlander. I don't give a shit about this. Moving on, this leads us into Kenny Omega versus Josh Alexander. Kenny Omega gets the win. He wins via the one-winged angel. Josh Alexander attacked Kenny Omega before the match even got started, after Omega was about to do his entrance and everything. So, you know, there's that. I don't care about this at all. I'm pretty sure Josh Alexander is happy. He had his match with Kenny Omega, so he basically had his WrestleMania moment. So he finally got his WrestleMania moment. Cool. Great for Josh Alexander. That's cool, I guess. That's the only reason why he came to AEW, was just to wrestle Kenny Omega. How pathetic, bro. He could be on NXT television right now doing stuff with Ethan Page and probably killing it right now. I mean, he probably wouldn't be champion, but, you know, he'd be doing some cool stuff in NXT more than likely. I don't know. Who cares? So, post-match, Omega gets on the mic. He says that he gives Don Callis credit, seeing as how hard he struck while the iron was hot, and while he's at his weakest. But in his new home of Orlando, where Kenny does live, he hasn't felt this good in years. And then Kenny Omega says that that Don Callis doesn't have one single member that can beat him. So quit while you're ahead and lick your wounds. While he goes after, while he goes after the AEW World Title. So, whatever. I really don't care about this. I don't really know how Omega feels. Like he's back in his prime. It's like, bro, you can barely go as is. So I don't know. Omega barely wrestles anyway. He barely wrestles ever since he had surgery to deal with his diverticulitis. So he barely wrestles. He sparingly wrestles now. He's super part-time. Super part-time. So there's that. Again, I don't really care about this. Kenny Omega has been feuding with the fucking Don Callis family since 2023. So basically 3 years we've been doing the same old shit. It's a revolving door. It's a never-ending loop. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Don Callis sucks, man. Don Callis completely sucks, bro. Like, you have a faction of probably 20 people, and only like 3 or 4 of them actually matter. Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, Okada. You could say number 4 with Josh Alexander. Those are the only 4 guys that matter. Jake Doyle's not going to do anything. Again, Jake Doyle would have been better off, aka Jake something would have been better off by going to NXT and actually being used there. He probably would end up being NXT champion and NXT North American champion, and get caught up to the main roster and probably be a multi-time IC title. A multi-time IC champion, multi-time US champion. He may also get a shot at the whatever championship and, win that title there. But, man, this just sucks. This shit sucks, dude. It sucks. It sucks. Oh, I forgot. You also have Andrade there too. So you got 5 guys there. You got five guys that you could actually build the faction around and actually really, be something. But you have fucking like Rocky Romero and all these other dumbasses in there. It's ridiculous. It's fucking stupid. It's really fucking stupid. Moving on, this leads us into Thomas Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa. They defeated Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. So who really cares there? Main event of the evening: Swerve Strickland defeats Kevin Knight. So this was just some type of exhibition match. Swerve told Kevin Knight, I believe it was last week, that he's going to be the future, or that may have happened on Collision. I don't know which. Wasn't really paying attention. Anyway, Swerve gets the win. It's insane that he ended up having to do a house call followed by a vertebreaker and then big pressure to get the win. He should have just done the house call followed up by another house call, 1, 2, 3. It was way too much. Like, dude, Kevin Knight is not, Will Ospreay or Kenny Omega or MJF, stuff like, guys like that. Like, come on, man. Like, get fucking real. But, it is what it is. MJF was shown watching the show from the skybox with some alcohol and stuff like that. An alcoholic beverage, some champagne. So, whatever. I don't care. Again, this is going to just lead to a multi-person match, either at Revolution, or you're going to have like a multi-person match. The winner of that faces MJF at Revolution. One of the two. But again, MJF's not losing the title until probably All In. So we're going to get matches with Hangman, Swerve, Joe, Brody King, and you could, you're definitely going to get matches with those guys I just mentioned. And I think that's probably going to end up being it, if we're being honest. Oh, yeah, and I forgot to mention Kenny Omega. So, all those guys are going to be fed to MJF. All of them. Hangman, Samoa Joe, Kenny Omega. Everybody's going to be fed to MJF. Everybody. Until Will Ospreay returns, and then Will Ospreay is going to be the conquering hero to dethrone MJF. And that's what's just going to happen. So, it is what it is. But again, this show sucked. Wasn't really nothing all that interesting that happened on this show. Just a total bore. And it is what it is, man. But it's Tony Khan's AEW. What the fuck can we do? But just watch the place burn. And, that's all AEW is doing. AEW is just slowly rotting away. It's slowly decaying. So, whatever. It is what it is.